I mean, absolutely. For those of you who don't know as well, just the fact that he left professional league for 2 years, doing his mandatory military service in Korea, and then managed to get rank 1 on the ladder after that and rejoin the professional ecosystem is an incredible accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, it's honestly really impressive. He's one of the best solo queue supports out there. This guy is always a monster on the ladder, so really fun to watch. Dignitas obviously falling to Immortals in game number 1. Immortals, they were on a 10-game losing streak, a 5 straight series losing streak. They were able to snap that when the pressure was off. They finally closed one out, thanks in part to a really great performance from Castle, who was so good in that game number 1.
He was. No Ksante ban drawn here, but he takes the Renekton side of Renekton Ksante, even though he solo killed Licorice's Renekton twice. That is his view on the power level of the champions. Dignitas, with their game 1 loss, also selected blue here in game 2. Their big pivot was to ban the Aurora. Even though it wasn't effective early in the game, it was definitely strong in those final fights.
Yeah, it was really annoying throwing down between worlds, and then the bullet time would come over top. You know, if you don't have a flash, it's really nothing you can do to get out of there. So they were struggling to answer that. And it was pretty powerful. What season is it? Remains to be seen. Will it be Dig season here in game number 2 or not? We will have to find out. More bans coming through. Rel going to get banned out, so another support ban targeting Isles. Kais has been banned out by Dig. Now, they do have the Zeri, which we're assuming is going to Jensen, but it could be kind of a similar draft to that first game. You know, Ziggs is still available. It is the Rakan ban instead that's going to go through. So I would expect Immortals to just pick support on 4 and try to further narrow that support pool.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. I would also say we have a rare control mage mid sighting.
What are those?
Yeah, Azir. It's new and fresh.
You can't
never seen this before.
Why would I want that?
Where's the Blade of the Ruined King rush on Azir? Can he build a Cull?
Well, he could. Does he want to win the game?
Don't give him ideas, Azael.
Yeah, we'll find out. Double 80 carry ban there for Dig. So I feel like with double 80 carry ban, they might just be going Ziggs again, honestly. You have Zeri mid, you have an AP jungle, you have an AD top, you fit in pretty well. A lot of AD options still available. We saw the MF. I think the MF was because of that pairing alongside the Aurora more so, but I would be interested to see if it just does come out again.
I mean, Misfortune was a pick that was getting a decent amount of play over in the LPL and never really picked up in the LCS, and it's also a pick that I know Tactical has favored in the past. He really enjoys playing the champion, so when they want to pair it with Bard again, and Bard is unbanned here, I'm not shocked if they just go MF Bard at the very end of this draft.
Yeah, it is really interesting, right? I think they have decent lockdown with the Sejuani and the Renekton. I don't think it's as good as the
it's not the same
combo. And it's so interesting when you talk to ADs about MF, because some people will swear to you that's a really strong champion. Other ADs in the LCS will tell you that it's absolutely useless. There's no way you can play it. It's complete garbage. People are very opinionated on basically no dash champs and if they are viable or not. So Tactical did get the win in game number 1. We'll see if he can do it in back-to-back games. Would be cool to see if they can get that done. I mean, they started the season with a bang. They crushed Shopify 2-0. Obviously, game number 1 against Dig was not a stomp by any means. It was very close, very back and forth. But it would be funny if they could both begin and end the split with a 2-0.
And a big throwback for Olleh's Thresh. This is a champion that has basically dropped out of the competitive meta, but it is something that he has had so much success on. Back when the original Immortals iteration, I can remember him playing this on Immortals in 2017 all the way to the LCS finals on that team. So it's a throwback for him, and I think pretty meaningful if this is going to be his last series this year.
His most played all time, 44 games of Thresh in pro, 61.4% win rate on the champion. He is one of those guys who's really well known for it. Obviously, Thresh has kind of fallen off the face of the planet these days, but it used to be, if you were a good solo queue support, you had a nasty Thresh, and Olleh has always had that reputation. It is, of course, going to be Zeri bot, as we saw the Corki getting locked in. We talked about the potential of that swap last time. This time, I thought they might have just ran back to Ziggs again, but it is
older players, but the more modern champions, Azael.
Yeah. Turns out you can teach old dogs new tricks, or maybe not. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, one thing that we hit on last game that we need to bring up, just because I'm a big fan of statistics, is that even though Immortals is now 5-0 directly after playoff elimination, they're also 0-4 after the game after playoff elimination. So They need to break this streak
Not to
now.
be confused with the game after playoff elimination. This is now the
Correct.
game after the game after the playoff elimination.
Correct. They've never won that game.
They've never won that game, which
So,
is this game.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yes. Gotta
So
track
now, looking to
the
make
hair is
history
gone.
once
Yeah.
again.
It's like, do you remember Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan 3? Mm-hmm. The one that tires you out a lot? I feel like that's what they had in Game 1.
Oh, so now they're exhausted.
Now they're exhausted, back to
Need some,
normal
like, what are
hair.
they, the senzu beans
Yeah,
or whatever?
and they're much weaker at the moment. They need to recover a bit.
Oh, man, it's just a bunch of Krillins out there.
Yeah, maybe.
That's terrible.
We'll see. We'll see if history repeats itself. It did in
Yeah,
Game
we'll
1.
find out. We'll find out. All right, well, you can see Dignitas initiating the lane swap here. Isles and Zven heading up towards top. Not going to find Armao starting on there. Olleh looking for an invade himself. Will find the bad news or good news, depending on their position. But at the very least, they'll know what is going on. They'll know that it's a lane swap. A Castle is sitting up in that top lane. Going to be trying to soak as much experience as possible, but he is spotted.
Yeah.
And likely just going to level the E and then just dash back. He's just trying to get XP. You are really just kind of a man on a mission trying to survive up here in these lane swaps.
Yeah, it looks like he got 1 minion of XP, so he definitely would have preferred to get a little bit more. Tracking on the bottom side as well. Licorice also getting 1 minion of XP. Junglers a lot of times would like to path up so they can dive when this turret crashes, so you always have to wait and see how quickly the top laner just completely abandons his post, which is what Castle has done right now, knowing that he didn't get level 2 and knowing that he also got chunked out.
Something also that is pretty interesting to talk about, you know, we talk about playoffs, we talk about experience. This is the LCS most playoff appearances all time leaderboard. Jensen is in there, soon to be 15 on that leaderboard. Zven obviously has tremendous amounts of experience. Spica's been around for a long time. Licorice has been around for a long time. Dig just has so much experience, and especially experience in big games and big moments, that even though they have not performed to the level that they wanted to in the regular season, I think they're not to be counted out come playoff time. These players know what it takes to make it happen in big games.
Absolutely. Playoffs is going to be the great equalizer. And just a reminder for the viewers here, Dignitas has already clinched playoffs. They already know their first round playoff opponent. It's going to be 100 Thieves. So the result of this series will determine if they are the 4th or the 5th seed, which will then determine side selection in that series. We don't know yet exactly who their next opponent will be if they won that, but it's almost certainly Team Liquid because Team Liquid gets to choose their side of the bracket. So playoffs is absolutely the great equalizer. Even if they struggled a whole bunch during the regular season, if they win their first round of playoffs against 100 Thieves, then they would only need to beat Team Liquid to go to Worlds. So they'd be 2 best-of-5s away from Worlds at the start of that series.
Isles is flashing for that. Oh my god, that is annoying for Castle, but I guess it remains to be seen if it's worth. So basically that flash denies him the top wave. How much was there? I don't even know how many melees were there, so he's going to lose basically a full wave probably, at the very least. You have to kind of make that decision. Is your flash worth denying that full wave? Isles makes the call that it is. It's definitely annoying for Castle. Whether it was a worthwhile play, I guess remains to be seen.
For sure, and Renekton Ksante, as Castle so quickly locked in that Renekton this draft, kind of hates this, even if you can get small 2 CS advantages on the Ksante early. You really want to be level 6 on Renekton as quickly as possible, because if both Ksante and Renekton are behind, Ksante is stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we call them kind of those low eco champs. So this is the replay, I guess, when he interrupts it. So there's actually a lot of range minions there.
Wow.
That makes it feel much more worthwhile. I didn't realize that it was a fully stacked wave. So that looked like somewhere 9, 10 range minions that he did deny. So that's going to feel pretty good. And you can see the wave is getting pushed in now to Licorice top. So he's going to collect as much of this as he possibly can. Should be able to create an experience advantage. And Jensen, pressing E and walking towards you. You've seen a lot of this if you've been watching competitive lately, as Corki misses the Q and now in trouble. Is going to have to Valk out of there. Armao's in the area as well. There's a potential for a W flash. Jensen has got to get out of there and fast.
You might want to trade
gets the
flashes.
bad news. He's going to have to flash, and now W flash is there to follow, and Armao nails him. Jensen's down.
Nicely played there by Armao. I think Jensen was hoping that Armao would do a Q flash to try and get the instant kill, but Armao knew that he had enough tools to get the kill no matter what and was just patient holding his flash for the W. But because of that wave that we saw earlier, Licorice a full level ahead of Castle now and able to have a really good chunk on Castle to get this wave in and probably reset again.
Yeah, and if he had actually hit that Q3 with the Intovo strikes, if he got that knockback, that's a potential flash that has to be forced there from Castle. So could have been bad. Hook does land, but it is on the Thresh, and good buffer from Olleh. Lands a hook of his own, and Nautilus is in trouble. He has no flash, remember, because he flashed over the wall, but in comes Spica to back him up. Will be able to push them back. Otherwise, that could have been a chase down for a kill.
I do actually like the MF pairing with the Thresh as we watch another big trade in mid lane.
And Mask has been very good with some of these little dodges. You know, in that previous play, dodging the Phosphorus Bomb with the dash forward made all the difference. And in this one as well, dodging on a lot of those rockets, taking these aggressive trades.
Yeah, very impressive stuff there. With the MF versus Thresh, I think there's a number of reasons why Thresh is out of the meta. A lot of it's to do with his teamfight scaling just being completely terrible compared to other like melee tanks. But also his like all-in is weaker than it used to be as well. So normally Nautilus could be a counterpick into Thresh because one is hook cast faster, and then two, if you just proc your Aftershock, you're going to be able to win those trades. But Misfortune is just such a strong stand and hit 80 carry. I think he can help neutralize that weakness a little bit, and we saw it there where actually if Spica didn't arrive, that would have been a very successful, maybe even kill for Tactical and Olleh.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Olleh played it really, really well. You know, Isles is going in. You always want to buffer that hook when you can. As you say, getting the Aftershock up is such a big deal to be able to get that out. And, you know, basically negates the entire hook that's coming through from Isles. You can't land that passive auto to follow it up. So do end up taking quite a bit of punishment there. Spica going to be able to grab those grubs on the top side, while meanwhile Armao claims a dragon of his own. And we'll see what he can get done. Obviously grab that first blood, not exactly where you would want it, but still you can get out towards a fast Zeeks or whatever and try to, just kind of springboard yourself to a little bit of a faster start. Yep,
totally fine start overall for Immortals. A little bit unfortunate with the top lane, not hitting level 6 first, so Castle doesn't have the prio that they want, but they do have the first Drake. There will be no Hex Soul this game since that is the first Drake that goes over, but still completely in a position where Olleh can find windows to try and make plays. Because I think that's the biggest thing that they need to accomplish in this early game is before Olleh gets outscaled, roam around and make a lot of stuff happen.
Yeah, we'll see, what he's going to be able to make happen. The Lantern obviously has a lot of value as well. It can be pretty powerful. We know it's not going to be the best soul, but we also know it's not going to be the worst soul, as Chemtech is coming up next. So it is going to be a soul that people will want.
It's Cloud, isn't it?
It could be. Cloud is strong, though, man. Cloud with Zeri is so annoying.
True.
And Lillia, like, oh my god, I would not want to allow Dignitas to have that. That would be a very quick FF for me if I was playing against Cloud Soul.
I think Cloud Soul, I don't know how we got on the top of Cloud Soul, I apologize, but it's like the most sleeper OP soul because you're just good, so fast. Exactly. There's a reason that when you check Lolesports, so often like move speed runes or high win rate or boots rushes had to be nerfed because like the better you are, the more you can utilize small differences in move speed. And Cloud Soul gives you large differences in move speed. So I think it's a bit of an auto win.
Oh, there's the lightning crash coming down. Tactical in trouble, flashing in. They're trying to deny the Lantern, but he does pick it up. He flashes after, but the splash damage still coming through. They're trying to separate to deny more of it. It does require both the flashes, holds onto the barrier. But a nice engage there from Dig. If they were able to knock off the passive move speed, then just walk straight in, and he knows the dive could be coming. Zven getting really close to death there. Didn't want to use the flash. Holds on to it, but now it means he's actually has to base, and they've lost control of the wave off that bullet time that defended the dive and got a great trade.
Tactical found such a good angle for that bullet time that it does save them from what was a bad trade. It did pull both junglers down temporarily. Spica has a fine reset to move back to his blue buff, and Armao taking his blue buff right now, but kind of well played by both sides. In the initial instance, it looked like Zven was going to get a large lead in the lane, and then Tactical saves it with that bullet time.
And I want to see if Dignitas can really punish those missing flashes, so we can watch this one more time.
So ult early by Zven, keeping Tactical in a tough spot. I'd say that Lantern was pretty far forward, very dicey at the time.
As we're back to live, and Licorice is all out. The Dominus has been popped. Can he hit the Q3 to knock him back? And he can. The bowling ball misses, though. As a result, he pulled him out of it. So Castle will be able to dash back to the turret as the Swirling Seed cannot connect there from Spica.
Narrow escape, and now Armao is thinking about something. He has no ability to just straight up duel the Lillia, though, but he can control the crab since Jensen is in base, and he has his Azir in the mid lane. Nice little punish there for the attempted gank, and Castle just TPs back and pushes the wave in.
Yep, and so far so good for the Azir. I'm not seeing nearly as many control mages these days, as it is really dominated by AD carries in this meta, but it is kind of just a farm fest. And he rushed straight to the Nashers, and that's already completed, whereas Corki, as we see these days, tier 2 boots, tier, that's very, very standard. So it means your first item completion is going to be very much delayed. But we were in for a very close game. I mean, it's pretty much dead even, 16.5k on both sides. It is grubs for a dragon. This is about as close as it gets.
Yeah, I will say that Dignitas likely has a lot better scaling.
Oh, he didn't have ult, never mind.
Yeah, was not able to just really pull him into the turret. Yeah, I just feel like the Thresh Renekton Sejuani is going to have a hard time scaling against the Zeri Corki, so Immortals need to make something happen fairly quickly. This next Drake that's going to spawn, I think they need to try and really hard commit to that. They may actually have to just give up these grubs, which could be a bit of a risk, but I think they have enough lane pressure that it's worth the trade for the Drake.
Yeah, we'll see. It is going to be Immortals starting it up, so they don't want Dignitas to be able to get 6 grubs. Isles is here. He spots them. Zeri moving over as well, and in comes Spica. So clearly, Dignitas doesn't want to just give this up. A double sleep does land. The hook is there to follow, and it's going to be an immediate flash out as the box is going to get dropped, but it's not going to create any space for Immortals at all. The bot laner's missing both of their flashes. They are just gone. And meanwhile, Licorice is just fighting it out. 1v2 in the pit. Castle goes over the wall, but in comes Jensen. The Dominus gets popped. Do they have a flash to follow? Not just yet, but in goes Spica now. Watch out, EP is down, and Armao's going to have to flash back to the tower as well. As Spica will grab the grubs here off the back of that. There's one more remaining that they should be able to get. Jensen picks it up, but they want to try to Darve Armao. Jensen's going to shove this in. Zven is going to go back towards mid lane, and we'll see if they can pull off this dive. Isles needs to be the one to start it up. The hook doesn't hit, but he does connect with that passive auto, and there's nowhere for Armao to go. Nicely done from Dignitas, winning out pretty massively there.
What a great sequence for Dignitas. It's all started really by Spica. That's the dream Lillia play when you're just kind of wasting these E's in the mid lane to get a double hit confirm onto the AD carry and support and then start the entire sequence.
Hold the hook.
Beautifully done. Gives them a 2,000 gold lead when the game had been even.
Yeah, and punishing the double missing flash from that bot lane, right? They were sitting around mid. And Spica, this is one from very far away. They just walk right into it, and they get that double sleep to set it up. And unfortunately, the positioning was not great for them, as they do get hooked in right off of it.
Yeah, so just all around good communication by Dig, because Spica waited about as long as he could before pressing the R, which gives the Nautilus and the Zeri a little bit more time to move over. But Immortals is set up pretty well to take this second Drake.
Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be theirs. I don't think that Dignitas is interested in fighting it just yet. Olleh is around. Licorice obviously very low. They have Jensen up in top lane, pushing that out. So Dignitas is going to be able to give over those second dragons, but it does set up that potential opportunity that Immortals had last time, again, to be able to push towards Soul, as it is going to be a mountain dragon and a mountain soul that's on the table.
Another powerful soul, especially if Dignitas is able to outscale.
Coming in, they're going to try to engage here. Yeah, Jensen potentially in some trouble. Castle has popped the ult, but he is down multiple levels, but now Mask arrives as well, and Mask is trying to take them down. Isles creating a lot of space with the double passive roots. He's stepping forward trying to get him, but he can't just do it. But now in comes Zven with the lightning crash. Can he finish them off? Isles is gone. Zven is pushed back. Mask got so much damage down there. Dignitas goes 0 for 2 as Mask and Castle connect to crush Dig.
And Immortals is bringing it right back after losing that mid-engage. They've closed the goal lead to 400 and have the 2 Drake advantage. Let's watch this one more time. Castle so far behind in this game, but really tries to make something happen. This is level 9 Renekton. Hard engaging on the level 11 Corki. That's why it's unexpected from Jensen, but he does it because Mask is behind him. At the tail end of this fight, he also clutches it up. He's got full rage for that extra hit stun. He might have even gotten an empowered Q at the tail end of that too. So they just clean that fight. Basically, 2v4 in terms of the number of players that needed to be invested into that spot. Very nicely done.
Yeah, and Mask is going to get pretty strong now. You know, he already had that one completed item. He has the tier 2 boots, got another Faded Ashes in there, so he's going to be working towards another item. And now the TP coming in here from Immortals. Dignitas just has to run. Thanks for the leash. And they're going to be able to grab that and pick up the eye. But Dignitas trying to go back in. The Glacial Prison connects on Isles. He does buffer the hook to try to get out. Licorice coming in now. The Swirling Sea connects on multiple. And it's a 2-man sleep. What can they find off of it? They can find the 1 kill on the Renekton. But it looks like that's going to be the end of it. So it is the Herald for a kill.
and it might even be that mid turret, depending on how much Zven and Licorice can hit this. But I have to call attention to Immortals' quest to deny history. Because, as talked about last game, they are now undefeated directly after playoff elimination, but they are winless the game after playoff elimination. So if they win this one, that'll be not a 0%, which I think the first one is always the hardest one to get.
It's true.
And it would also mean...
From there, Worlds.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Immortals, if they 2-0 Dignitas as well, they'd have the most visually synergistic season.
They would.
Because it would be 2 wins into 10 losses into 2 wins.
Maybe that's
Perfect.
why they did it.
They just squish those bookcases of losses in the middle with the 2 bookends of wins.
Yeah, absolute cinema there. We'll see if Immortals are going to be able to pick it off. You know, Dignitas has had a pretty up and down split themselves. So they've been really competitive against some very good teams, you know, taking wins off of FlyQuest and TL, but then also dropping to Shopify in a 2-0 there. Castle does try to sidestep, can't quite do it. Is he going to get slapped up? I'm not even sure if they need it. The watch out Eep bonks him over the head. And it is going to be the flash forward from Licorice to guarantee it. They chase him down. They get that kill on the other side. Mask is pushing, though, and going to try to get some damage down on this tier 2.
Important that Dignitas continue to try and make these plays. Going to be a little bit of a delay by Armao. I don't think more would happen other than delaying recalls. But the more Dignitas can trade gold cross-map, I think the better, as long as they're not falling behind in these trades. Like the fact that Zven is 3-0-0 on Zeri makes him a little bit inevitable. I think the Corki Zeri scaling, as we saw in both of the Cloud9 FlyQuest games, has been very victorious today. So Dig shouldn't be panicked or quick to make any moves. They're actually in a fairly comfortable spot, especially if they can contest this next trade.
And it would be nice to see Zven, you know, have a big game, right? Because I think he's been solid for Dig. And when you think back towards earlier on in the split, he had some really big games that people were very, very excited about. But he's been a lot more quiet the last couple of weeks. And for him to have a big carry performance, I think would do a lot, potentially for his confidence going into playoffs. And
even though these are very experienced players, it's just their first split together as well. The only holdover on this entire roster from Spring Split was Isles for Dignitas. So everyone has been building their synergy on this Dig team the entire time. They have had more success in these slower, more drawn-out type games where they can actually keep the game in front of them and get good setup on these neutral objectives. Last game became a little bit too much of a banger, even though it looked like they had a lot of it in control early on. And with this next Drake up in 30 seconds, I'm curious to see how they play it, because Zven is very strong at the moment, but so's Mask. So a lost fight here could be pretty disastrous for Dig.
Dig do have TP advantage, though, so I think it would be tough for Immortals to fight unless they can mark this Ksante. Because if he joins and he gets stuck in a 4v5, it could be really problematic. So Licorice is pushing in. There's the hook onto Armao, but it is just Armao, and Isles has to flash out after it, so definitely not a great hook from him. Licorice has backed off, trying to create space, but you can see in the bottom left, Castle wants to mark him. He's saying you cannot get a free TP here, so he's going to turn around and take the fight. Castle's trying to run. We'll see if he can find it. It's going to be all out there from Licorice as he's taking the 1v1. Dominus has been popped. A flash to try to dodge it, but he catches him on the Q3, and Licorice gets the solo kill. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Licorice. Gets the solo kill back onto Castle after last game. The bullet time taking out Isles, but Isles boomerangs to the wall and to safety, barely surviving there.
It's a Ksante diff, level 11 to level 10. Castle was stuck with TP disadvantage when his team very much wanted to contest this Drake, so Castle is dead. However, he can teleport back, so Immortals still might get the Drake out of this. They're starting it up with Castle ready to TP in.
Yeah, they had a big HP advantage. Spica trying to fish over the wall here. The Swirl Seed not connecting there. But Jensen, Spica working on this. Zven is over the wall, but they need to get Licorice here. They need him to create that space for the squad to guarantee this. Armao's hanging out. He is on vision, so they know he's there, but they're scared to step up and potentially get CC'd by him.
He really wants to
Isles
steal
coming
it.
back now. This is getting a little bit dicey. Dig just needs to buy time till the rest of the members do arrive. They will do so now, and they will secure the Dragon.
A very successful sequence for Dig, especially if they can extend this further. Doesn't necessarily look like it, but they took the top turret. They got a solo kill. They denied Soul Point. They're up 2,000 gold, and they have the better scaling. So they're going to be very happy about how those last 2 minutes went.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's a tough situation for Castle because he's weaker in the 1v1. He knows it, but he also can't allow him to get that TP. And now Tactical potentially in trouble. And Castle is going to try to come in to respond, but he's still in the top lane. And Licorice is there faster. They're going to be able to get the kill. The sleep on 2. The flash in from Spica. Can they get more? It doesn't look like it. Now Castle finally responds. I thought he was going to do so earlier, but he did not. Does get the slice through the minions, but it's just going to dissuade them from pushing in. Licorice makes all the difference on that roam, and Castle was nowhere to be seen.
Licorice definitely getting revenge for that game 1 here. Weirdly enough, a lot of it is from that early lane swap. He's held that 1 to 1.5 level advantage pretty much the entire game, and he's constantly made Castle play from that back foot. Even now, Licorice, who just made the play in the mid lane, is even getting this bot wave completely in before his reset. So Licorice having a hell of a game. Zven getting a bunch of kills. The scaling continues to mount for Dignitas.
Yeah, and Licorice, again, TP advantage now because he didn't actually use his. He just walked down. You know,
yeah.
When he showed up, I thought Castle was going to instant TP and try to respond, but he just continued to push out top. I guess he thought it was a doomed play, that he wasn't going to be able to actually save anyone. Then when they looked for that dive, as Spica flashed in with the Q flash, he had to respond to that. So again, it's going to be Dignitas with Prio on the map. Castle can't win the one-on-one. He's down 2 levels right now, likely close to level 12. But Dig have the ability to just set up plays on the map, always knowing that they're going to have the extra man.
Yeah, and I think it's important for them to recover from that game 1 loss, win the next 2 games, go into playoffs with victory in their minds, basically. Even though they know they're going to be playing against 100 Thieves, you would rather have side selection in that series, which is what Dignitas can get if they win the next 2 games. And they are looking cleaner here in the second game. They're not up against Soul Point. They're holding sideways very well. I'd say Spica is having a particularly strong game on the Lillia. Really good timing on his engages. And Isles, that's the 2nd or 3rd time he's really buffered one of those Immortals engages with his Nautilus hook.
Yeah, that Glacial Prison does connect onto Zven, but he knows he doesn't even have to cleanse it because the rest of the team was already backing off. Riot found the angle, but kind of wasted the ulti, unfortunately. The hook does connect here, but not going to be able to follow that one up, as no damage dealers are really in the area. And Spica now playing behind Castle. So his job is just going to get that much harder, as he already can't win the one-on-one against Licorice, and now the jungler is there to help as well.
Castle.
Oh, here's the TP coming in. It's going to be Mask arriving, so Dignitas just looking to retreat. We'll be able to back that off, no problem. So again, taxing these resources. Immortals getting a little bit antsy, I feel like, jumping the gun on some of these plays, you know, throwing out the ult, TPing very fast there in these situations where their opponents weren't yet committed to the play.
Definitely not, and they're just going to reset and probably continue to slow play this game because of the scaling that we talked about. I mean, Muramana is going to be completed by Jensen very shortly. Zven now has a 450 gold bounty, so like, if I'm trying to think of how Immortals makes their way back in this game, it's Olleh kind of pulling off something random, but it's harder to do on Thresh than it would be on Bard.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's always that chance that you find those perfect hooks time and time again, but Zven has cleanse. Jensen's going to have a kind of brick wall of Ksante and this Nautilus ahead of him, very likely. So your targets become few and far between for Olleh. It's very difficult, especially when you're on the back foot, when you're playing these hook champions, like Blitz and like Thresh. They thrive when they dominate vision, and their opponents have to check into the shadows constantly. But that's not the case right now. It's their opponents that are really running the map, and it's Immortals that are getting spotted on all these plays. Yeah,
especially then, because another one of the quote advantages of Thresh would be the ability to check a dangerous spot and be bailed out with Lantern. But what keeps happening is Spica's just throwing his E to the Lantern location, waiting for them to take it, and then sleeping the group of them. So it's making it really difficult for Olleh to succeed with this pick.
Has been tough, but at the very least, Mask is scaling well, deathless, farming well, has 2 items, working towards his 3rd. Azir does still have a lot of late game power. And yes, MF is not a traditional late game hyper carry, but if you get that really good ult off, it can be pretty game changing. So do have to still show respect to that, and we'll see if Immortals can find their opportunity.
They definitely need to try something, but there's not a sense of panic yet, because if they actually just ran it down, they'd probably just accelerate the game. That's always the difficulty when you're in these losing situations with worse scaling, is there's a pretty high chance that the soul slowly goes over to Dignitas and Immortals loses the game, and the feedback from us would be that they needed to just try something. Yeah. But if Dig never gives them any windows, then it's not going to work. And right now, Mask was pushing deep, and I think he's caught.
Yeah, Mask very far up there. The depth charge is going to come through. He's going to flash, but the hook is going to be there anyway, and he is just gone. The ulti does sweep them back, but doesn't even matter because Immortals not going to be able to do anything more. Armao's in a lot of trouble. He's just getting knocked down lower and lower and lower. And now the massive sleep comes in from Spica. Bullet time gets let go there from Tactical, though. He's creating a lot of space. Spica is low. Spica may just go down. They do get the kill onto him. Tactical trying to catch up to them. So many low health bars. Armao is warmogsing up on the side, but they can't keep the chase going. I mean, that bullet time made such a big difference.
It was an amazing bullet time. I feel like Tactical is insane at the moment as a level 12 MF chasing 4 people, but he's actually done it for now. The Armao warmogs makes him full health, but it is still a 3v4 and Mask can't teleport back. I feel like this fight is not over.
No, it's not. And Licorice back in base. He does have his TP, I believe.
Yeah, he's coming.
He's going to rejoin now on the TP. Can they kill this dragon and get out? That's the question for Immortals. They want to move themselves to Soul Point, but Zven is below them. So is Jensen. And Immortals are going to have to run as Licorice is just a brick wall that they don't think they can get through. Now the call is go back to the dragon, but this is getting pretty dicey here.
It's so dicey.
As Isles is going to arrive. We'll see if they can actually make the play happen. They pull him out. The Lantern to safety. Well done. Mask now back. Can Armao secure it? Looks like he should be able to, so it got dicey, but Immortals get the job done. Move themselves one dragon away from the Mountain Soul.
And that was the clutch play that Immortals has been waiting for. It all starts when DIG actually get what looked to be a pick that could blow the game open. Mask dies, only gets his ultimate off for damage, and then once this sleep started channeling by Spica, I thought it was going to be a wipe for them right here, but let's watch what actually ends up happening. Armao flashes out, and another incredible angle on Tactical's MF ultimate, not directly down the lane, a little bit to the side, bursts all of them down, and from this moment, to say actually let's hard force the Drake is huge.
Yeah, you can see Spica frustrated that he went forward, but we're back to live. We're back to Isles dying once again. Immortals get another pick, and this time they may just say it's Baron o'clock. Let's start it up.
Oh boy.
They are hitting it already. Olleh looking for a hook, couldn't quite find it. Castle has arrived. Licorice is coming as well. This is not an easy Baron to do in front of Spica and Zven and Jensen, who have a lot of damage to throw in, but the Baron's going down fast. It's down to 5k. Licorice is here. Are they going to go in for the steal? Remember, Spica has no flash, so he has no real way in, and Castle's popping the dominance. He's going to come out to try to buy time, but the damage is being split. The bullet time gets popped. Licorice is in trouble, but he is able to back it out. They secure it, but now can they get out of there because the health bars are low? Immortals do get it. They get the dragon, they get the Baron off a couple picks. Immortals battling back into this game.
Immortals is clutching up. We didn't see the beginning of that pick onto Isles, but they then just brute forced 5v4'd that Baron and never gave a good approach for Dignitas to come in. I gotta say, the 0-2-2 MF is doing so much work.
Yeah.
The ease to zone them out, the bullet times to push them back, it's just making it difficult for Dignitas to actually complete any single one of these engages. And even though it was a 1 Drake and 4,000 gold difference earlier, it's now close to about 2,000 gold, and Immortals wearing this Baron buff need to make use of this Baron buff to try and get more. Watching this pick, it looked like Olleh and Armao making it happen.
Yeah, Olleh was able to flash in there, found him with the flash play, had the hook to follow. Those are the aggressive moves you have to make on the Thresh. You can't just sit back. You can't just play it slow like you can on some of these other supports. As you said, it's more difficult to make it happen in the team fights, so you have to take advantage when you find these little skirmishes where I think Thresh can really thrive. Now Zven doesn't have a flash, does have the cleanse. They're going to try to delay this push as much as possible. You can see Castle escorting in those Baron minions in mid.
And Jensen's just trying to trade gold on the top side of the map. This is a classic Jensen play. This inner turret will make him very fed, and he's just betting that his team won't give up too much on the other side. But this is the inhibitor likely going down.
Yeah, the inhibitor is going to be gone. The question is, how much more do they have to give? Because Jensen's going to be on inhib himself, and who's going to actually call stop? Mask is TPing. This is an awkward spot. Okay, that got a little bit scary. I'm not going to lie. Mask does get out. And the Lantern should get Armao to safety, but now the question is, can it actually get them all out as Licorice is coming here on a really good angle? Olleh drops the box to try to buy some time. Can they get the Blast Cone? Yes, to try to buy a little bit of space. It knocks Licorice over the wall, and that may have just saved Immortals here. Tactical going to be able to push him back. Armao gets out. That was really dicey in more than one way.
It was fine, though. So
You're not
who
wrong.
cares? Yeah, Immortals would love to have this type of bittersweet ending to their split, I'd have to say. If they could 2-0 Dignitas, despite being eliminated in the playoffs, it would hurt a little bit for them to know that they had so much potential throughout the split, because even going back to spring, I think people did see a lot of glimpses, and we thought they'd be able to pull it together in summer split. They did not, but now, up against Dignitas, if they continue this little surge, they could actually have a chance of 2-0ing. The game state is still weirdly not completely Immortals favored. I still don't think they have better scaling. Zven is huge. Jensen is getting more and more items for late game poke. The Baron buff, not super successful, plus 2,000 down in about 10 seconds. They can maybe get this turret to make it almost 3,000, but they need to continue to make plays to win this game.
And I think the next play, oh, there's a hook though. It connects, and the bullet time coming across it pushes back Jensen, buying the space for Mask. The Lantern is there to bring him to safety.
Oh,
is Licorice going to go all out? He is. And it's Armao in the middle of 5, and Armao's got no chance of getting out of that one.
Nice pick there by Licorice. Got him right up against the wall, pulled him back to the rest of the team. The overall gold trade in that, though, will still be slightly Immortals favored. The bad thing, though, is that is a 30-second respawn timer you see on Sejuani, and a 15-second respawn timer on the Drake that Immortals wants to get to try and get Mountain Soul.
That really sucks. It's such a key pick for Licorice to be able to not quite guarantee, but almost guarantee that they do get this.
Yeah.
Jensen is pushing out top. When he shows, it may give Immortals a little bit of confidence to be able to actually move in here and try to retake this area. Of course, Jensen does have TP. He just hit level 18.
Wow.
And likely has quite a bit of gold in pocket, I would think, because I feel like he hasn't been back to base for a while. Yeah, 3,300 gold in pocket. So he's going to have a full item buy here. Dignitas do grab the dragon, so Immortals are going to have their soul at the very least delayed, if not outright denied this game. And now you're going to have to deal with Jensen, who is going to be tough. I think he's just staying out on the map. Maybe he just wants like a full IE or something, because he's still not basing. Yeah,
let me check this real quick, how much gold he's sitting on. Yeah, he's sitting on 3,400 gold.
Yep.
There is no objectives up at the moment. Baron's minute 45 seconds away. Next Drake is going to be 4.5 minutes. So Jensen now has enough gold to go get that 3,400 gold IE completed. Zven barely taking that blue buff. Mask wants a pick.
Mask is looking, but Zven is going to slide back. Can he actually find the angle? The TP coming in to respond here. This one is from Licorice, so Mask has to back up, but they're going to try to turn on Licorice and burst him down. Can they find it? The hook misses as Licorice flashes out to safety. That's a TP and a flash just to run away here, as the pressure from Mask was enough to get the resources out of the Dignitas top laner.
Yeah, Immortals stayed aggressive. I will say that was kind of greedy by Jensen. It's nice to full buy your IE, but since the game is going nowhere anyway, it put the team in a bad tempo. So because he reset there while the blue buff is spawning, Zven then kind of wanted to get the blue buff, and that whole sequence led to them almost having a pretty crucial pick. But, you know, no actual harm, so no foul, and Jensen can go back to hitting minions.
And these AD carries getting very strong. You can see Zven, he already had his IE, but now he has the LDR. You know, both of the Dignitas marksmen do have 4 items. Tactical does as well, as does the Azir. It's getting to this late stage of the game where anyone can die very, very quickly, whether you're a tank or not. You get caught, you die fast. And Licorice is going to have to hop back the rest of his team. Remember, there's no tower there. Armao going forward. Did he go too far forward is the question, as he is getting really low. Licorice as well, down very low, but Armao has the Warmogs and should be able to heal it back up. So the fact that he gets in, gets out, means Licorice has to go back to base, and he's just chilling.
Ends up being a nice aggressive play. Tactical also got the Nautilus R pressed on him, so no Nautilus R for the next little bit as Baron is respawning. And Tactical's got the overshield from Misfortune. They're going to try and run the same play. This time it is a 5v5 though.
Azir can delete this though. It's going to go down fast. Spica's got to get there in a hurry. He has the flash, but I think he's too late. It's too late. It's already going to be dead by the time he arrives. They get vision on it. It is smited down by Armao.
They'd love to fight here. Castle sees something.
Castle is looking, but can he actually find the ankle? He would have to flash. He used the slice over the wall. Doesn't have the dice available. There's the flash. There's the stun. It's on Jensen. But Jensen has the Mercsons to be able to back up. There's the Lantern to try to get Castle to safety, but Castle is burning down. Will he survive? Will for now, just barely. Immortals just need to back it up. They're playing with fire here a little bit. Reset, spend the gold. Tactical's poking and prodding on the side, but he was walking in the face of multiple Dignitas members to do it.
Really nice Baron. Really strange overforce from Immortals, because Castle had no slice dice flashed into a Merc Treads Corki who buffered with the Valkyrie. That's just never going to give them the kill, but I feel like they're thinking that they have the Baron and it's time to push their advantage, get that 2-0, and end their year on a win, which is an opportunity that's actually afforded to so few teams.
I mean, it is really close for him to survive there, and otherwise he would have lost his GA, which would have been a disaster, because then they can stack on top of you potentially as you are rezzing from that GA, or at the very least just losing that. It means you're not going to have it for the fight. It also means for this next Dragon fight, there's going to be no flash on the Renekton. Renekton without flash in late game is a completely different champion. It's so much weaker. You really do depend on that to get in on the back line to put that damage out.
But there is a nice overlap for Immortals here with the duration of this Baron buff and the respawn of the next Mountain Drake. They have Baron for another minute 40. Drake is up in a minute 20. So they should be able to get both mid and bot waves in deep, get some good vision, and then peel back for the Drake. The danger here is how greedy they want to be to try and break this turret, and if Dignitas can get some type of poke out before this Soul fight, because the Mountain Soul could be a big win condition here for Immortals.
Absolutely. Olleh just continually fishing over the wall, but Dignitas very well aware of his positioning. Licorice did push out that top wave, back now with the team though, and we'll see if he can keep Castle off this inhibitor as Olleh again and again throwing out these hooks. No real cost to doing it. They are going to be able to step forward, and this mid lane tower should fall. Armao escorts Zven back as the mid lane inhibitor is going to go down. Jensen pushing forward onto Castle here. Looks like they want to try to make some sort of action happen down on this bot side, but they don't really have a way to start a fight just yet until now. The hook goes in on Armao. Are they going to commit to it? The bullet time across multiple members forces the flashback from Isles there, who barely survives, but now the MF is missing that critical ultimate.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for them to just get out of here with the wins that they've taken. They get both the inhibs, the Dragon spawning soon, but Immortals still hanging around, and Jensen is playing with fire. That Azir hurts this late in the game.
And that's huge. Jensen has to reset now. It's a bit of a cooldown check, though. Tactical's ultimate is going to be down for another 62 seconds, and Jensen is home guarding out of base now, whereas Immortals is not even in position for Drake. So they might actually want to slow play this, hope to get a pick as someone on Dignitas check, but starting the Drake outright could be risky, yet here we are.
They're just going to try to burst it down.
Oh, they got it. They got it.
There's no vision in the area from Dig, so Immortals will claim Soul.
Oh, man.
One step closer to a 2-0 over Dignitas.
What a wild series. As much as Dig knows their next opponent in 100 Thieves,
you do not want to go out like this.
you do not want to get 2-0'd by Immortals going into playoffs.
Yep.
Especially this game where they were 5,000 gold ahead against the Thresh team. I mean, maybe Olleh's Thresh has actually been the key this whole time. Thresh Bard, even though, like, what has this comeback been? Immortals still only has 5 kills. It's been so much just like poking and prodding and dancing around them with Warmog's regen from the Sejuani, poke from the Misfortune. Immortals is playing like a pretty solid macro game. It's very disappointing for Dignitas if they can't close this one out, and kind of cool for Immortals if they're able to actually close this out.
And they are really close to losing this game now. Your 2 inhibitors down, the wave's getting pushed in mid, Castle's escorting in the wave top, Spica's down in bot lane, so did just complete an item, is going to rejoin with the squad. You can see Licorice trying to aggressively clear this out and maybe finds a pick onto Castle. Castle potentially in trouble here. He's going to dash back in for Jensen. Jensen, Valkyrie's back to safety. Now the Glacial Prison connects on Licorice and the TPs are coming in. Who's going to go down first? It's a GA pop there, but Licorice has to flash out and Mask is on the chase. Tactical potentially in trouble. Jensen's going to flash over and he hits the rocket. Gets Tactical, and we've seen this one before. Tactical playing a great game, getting caught in a key situation can sometimes spell disaster for Immortals, but this time there's no waves, there's no objectives, and it should be okay.
It's definitely going to prolong this game, because that was the 2 inhib down setup for Immortals, where you use the pressure of the 2 super minion waves to break open your 3rd wave. But I kind of feel like Immortals over-prioritized the mid wave, and Castle... This is the replay where Castle says, I was in the right spot, you all were just not in the right spot. Because, yes, Tactical can get a decent bullet time off here, but now he needs to just go up. Instead, he goes to the side, more towards the mid lane. Beautiful shot there at the very end by Jensen, and Anero knows it. He's like, how many times can we be in winning positions and not win?
The tough thing is, it was a great rocket that gets the kill, but even without that, he flashed onto Licorice. So he was dead either way. He just lost track of where the Ksante was, you know, and wasn't confident about which way to retreat. So I agree. It just became this awkward situation where they're trying to funnel over there to help Castle. Tactical kind of gets caught between two sides. I don't know if the lantern had already been used or wasn't available or what happened there, but they couldn't get him out safely. Loses his flash, and MF without flash is very tough to play. You're so vulnerable to someone like Spica here. Of course, there is Mikhail's on Olleh, who could potentially defend him.
And with Baron coming up in 15 seconds, I have to remind you, there's more at play than just these two teams. There are supernatural forces working here because Immortals, I will say, after being directly eliminated from playoffs, they are undefeated. The game after that game, they are winless. So even it looked like they were winning, I don't know if they can overcome this
trend. They're just doing Baron on spawn. Let's find out.
Let's go.
That ward hasn't been spotted. Now it is. They're hitting this very, very fast. Mask is going to kill it quick. Castle on the other side. He's going to be engaging on Spica, trying to keep him away. Olleh looking for a hook down on the bottom of your screen, but it's Castle who's getting picked off on the top. He is rotting down further and further, and he has no GA, remember. So Immortals need to get out of here, and they need to get out of here fast because Castle is useless from this spot. Is going to be able to get back to base. Does have the teleport, but he will have to do the fight without Dominus. So I think Immortals may think better of it.
35 seconds left on that ultimate. It's pretty fast at this stage in the game. There are supers in bot. Tactical deep pushing that mid wave, which then forces Dig to respond. And Mask just absolutely melts this Baron. Fast two-man Baron here.
Yeah, it is gone. Immortals claim the Baron. And this could be the straw that broke the camel's back. We'll see if they can end the game with it with 2 open inhibs. With the Baron buff, they might be able to put the finishing touches on this series. If not, we are facing down 2 minutes until Elder, which could be a potential comeback mechanic for Dignitas if Immortals can't finish.
Oh, we're seeing an Elder Drake. There's no world we're not seeing an Elder Drake after this game.
Not a clean closeout?
Sure, it's 2 minutes away. You have to wait for the Elder at least. That's a max build
all the
Zeri.
fantasy points.
Max build Zeri, max build Corki. Immortals just going to try and push these waves in as deeply as possible. And like the way that they've been playing these games, like, can Dig even approach the Elder? They've been deep pushing them. They've been controlling vision. Currently, they do not have setup over the bot side. They're actually rounding up to try and break open this third inhibitor, even though the other 2 inhibitors are alive right now. Not sure about this setup by Immortals. Let's see how it works out.
Yeah, we'll see. Castle pushing in this wave. They're trying to step forward. Olleh looking for the hook. Just barely misses there on Jensen. But Dignitas equal to the task to clear out that first wave. The question will become, you know, as these waves start to stack up mid, who goes down to answer Castle? Do they fully commit to one side, or do they just accept the fact that they might be losing these inhibs?
I mean, Castle just gets pushed out by Jensen, no problem. And Dignitas still have Zven to clear this wave. And if Spica ever lands like a nice E, they could potentially have the go button and a 5v4. Like, Jensen's even able to cheat. This is a temporary 5v4 if Dig gets the engage.
Yeah, Zven getting poked down a little bit. Isles is kind of playing with fire on the side here. Is looking for a potential hook angle. Can't quite find it. Zven getting low. Good buffer, though, from Licorice. Immunes that hook. As Immortal stepping in, but he's going to get hooked in the tower range. Olleh drops the box, but it's not really doing anything, and Armao has to flash out of there to stay alive. He will be able to Warmogs back up, but again, in goes Isles, and Isles is going to drop the ulti on a Mask, but Mask just sweeps back to the tower. He's A-okay. They do get the teleport out from Castle, as he was worried about a full-on engage. Now the turret taking some damage, another hook comes in, and this time it's Tactical, and Tactical is gone! We've seen this one before. It's up to Zven, though, as Castle goes flying in. Zven's got to get the work done here, as Mask falls as well. The Zhonya's does nothing, and Dignitas are on the chase. They want even more. Zven's in the face of Olleh, who hooks to the Gromp. The zap will not slow him down, but I don't think you're getting out of this one. Spica is here, and Spica is here for blood.
The mid wave is deep. Jensen's teleported on it. Zeri's on the way. They might actually end the game here.
I think they will. It looks like that could be it. Off of a hook from Isles. Tactical gets caught. Both summoners available. And Tactical goes down. The follow-up fight was easy for Dignitas. They are pushing in, and they are looking to put the finishing touches on this one. It's just Armao alive, and he can do nothing but watch the Nexus turrets fall. Dignitas battle back out of nowhere. Take the fight, take the game, and send us to game number 3.
This is so scripted. Like, it's happened. This is the 5th time Immortals has run the same script. Get eliminated from playoffs, win, and then lose again. We're on.
Get some new material.
Get some new material. Come on. This is the 5th time it's happened. Either way, Dignitas, they're not happy now with the way that game went. but I think they are happy that they can still get that 4th seed, and they still have another opportunity to have a clean Game 3.
Absolutely. Well, single day tickets, are officially on sale for the LCS Championship.